this next song, Facebook came along, and all of a sudden we were able to reconnect with friends that we haven't seen for ages and ages. So, this year I wound up connecting up with this gal from Brooklyn, from Coney Island. She lived in Seagate, and we hadn't seen each other in like 50 years or something like that, and connected up on Facebook. And so her whole conversation with me was she tried to convert me to become a vegan. And that just wasn't going to work, and it got me to thinking about, the time that I was working for Steve Boysel, who was the manager of the Crow's Nest. My first job in Santa Cruz was a dishwasher at the Crow's Nest. And Steve asked me one day, he says, "Hey, would you want to work out on my organic garden on Old San Jose Road, just before Casa Legno's on the left-hand side? There was a place right there, and a couple of acres." And I figured, well, when I was back in school, they took us to the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, and they gave us one of the little milk containers, the waxy milk containers, the little half-pint milk containers. They cut the top off, they put some soil in, and they put a bean in there. Well, I brought it back to my house, the 13th floor in apartment 13D in the Coney Island housing projects. Put it on the windowsill, and sure enough, I grew a lima bean plant that had lima beans. So I figured, hell, if anybody's qualified to run this guy's organic garden, it'd be me. So I did, and then while I was there, I ran that for a couple of years. And while I was there, I was thinking about, these plants, they must have feelings, I'm just thinking about the feelings that these plants must have. You grow them, and then, then what do? You wind up pulling them out of the ground. You cut the roots off and stuff, and you bring them. I was bringing it to the Crow's Nest and the Shadow Brick, and what was left over, I'd bring it to Integral Yoga, the food co-op, Sunflower down over by there, 41st. What else? And what was left over from that, I'd bring to United Bar and Mulligan's right across the street, if anybody remembers Mulligan's. So, yeah. So anyway, and then I thought, where does it stop? If you're worried about killing things, well, what about when you're inhaling and you're doing microbes and stuff? What do you do at the microbial level? Where do you stop? So anyway, I wrote her this song just before I unfriended her.
That was subtle.
Called Pissing My Facebook Friends Off. Jumped out of bed, I dialed up the web, just wondering what was happening online. And there on screen, staring at me, my Facebook friend wrote me to say, "Don't close your eyes, don't put your head in the sand. Think about what you eat. You need a new belt, don't wear a pelt. Don't hurt no animals, please." She said, "Don't hurt no animals, please." My Facebook friends have many opinions. I'm sure gonna piss a bunch of them off. Well, I probably won't do what they asked me to do, but thank you so much for caring. I said, thank you so much for caring. Well, I thought what she said when it popped in my head. The time when I was much younger. On the 2-acre plot, I grew quite a lot of veggies and organic flowers. This kid from Brooklyn grew veggies and flowers. And back in that time, and inside my mind, I could hear little plant voices a-screaming. Don't cut off my head, don't pull up my roots, don't take me away from my home. Don't take me away from my home. Oh, tomatoes and chard, it really is hard to take you from your friends and family. For there on the plate is your future fate, next to something that one time was living. Well, sometime that sucker was breathing. Everyone, my Facebook friends have many opinions. I'm sure gonna piss a bunch of them off. Well, I probably won't do what you asked me to do, but thank you so much for caring. I said thank you so much for caring. So sometime that night, I probably you're right. My karma pay if I don't change my ways. But consuming air also isn't quite fair. I could hear little microbes a screaming. I could hear little microbes a screaming. But what can I do? I want to live too. My body needs something to burn. On the food chain of mine, I'll try not to cry as I order my burger and fries. As I order my burger and fries. Make it well done too. My Facebook friends have any opinions. I'm sure gonna piss a bunch of them off. Well, I probably won't do what they asked me to do, but thank you so much for caring. I said thank you so much for caring. I said thank you so much for caring. Thank you. That's a song I don't play hardly ever. Nobody listens to it if I'm playing at the winery, you know. So
So is that caring or caring?